and talk about procedure for agenda items and portfolio information.
I visited with some of you about this, a couple of months ago. It just went by me and I didn't catch it, but if you have something that you need a decision on, like a motion, a second, and a vote, especially an expenditure, it's proper to put it on the agenda and not do it in a portfolio. The reason why is that the public, if people will look at the agenda and say, oh, they're gonna discuss this, they're gonna discuss that, they're gonna discuss that. And then they have opportunity to come, to have their input on it. But if it's in portfolio and then all of a sudden something just comes up and we make a decision, especially for an expenditure, it can easily be construed that we're hiding something, that we're coming under the table. So, and the reason I asked Chelsea to put that up at number 3, so if there is anybody tonight that has something in their portfolio that requires, commission action, now would be the time to put it on the agenda. And then going forward, if you have something that does require, a decision to be made by the commission, make sure you get a hold of Chelsea and put it on the agenda, because we need to stay away from making decisions in portfolios there for reports. So, that makes sense?
Mhm.
And that's what I guess every board I've ever been on practices, so.
And then best case scenario, it'd be submitted so that it could be sent out to everyone as well.
Exactly, and that's another big thing too, not only on the agenda, but so that the information is out there, for everyone, so.
When you do your portfolio, can you do it like as a discussion to be brought back to the next month's
Sure,
agenda?
Oh, yeah,
oh yeah, absolutely.
that's,
Yeah.
that would be the proper way.
Yep.
Just avoid trying to make them,
Yeah, just something that needs commission approval on, so, especially an expenditure, because otherwise it's, like I said, we wanna, stay above board. We don't want the appearance that we're doing things in portfolio without it being listed before the public, so. So, yeah. So that's all I had. With that, you need a motion to approve the agenda?
Would there be any additions by the board?
Is this something to be decided on tonight, Miranda, or just for
I
information?
just wanted to discuss it.
Okay,
Like,
that's
is
fine.
that a normal amount?
Yep, okay, thank you.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Second,
All in favor?
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Thank you. Approve the December 9th, 2024 meeting minutes. Has everyone had a chance to
Yep,
read?
they're in order. I have a motion to approve.
Second. She got it.
Any more discussion? If not, Tim?
Yes.
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 And yes. Okay, financials, December's. Everyone had a chance to look through those?
Yep.
Motion to approve.
Yep,
Okay.
second.
Any more discussion? If not, Tim?
Yes.
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 And yes. All right, the bills. So,
Motion to pay the bills.
Second.
any more discussion? Tim?
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, number 8, local raffle permit, McLean County Critters 4-H Club.
They had submitted this, she resent it today. The only thing that was different on there was the date. Instead of doing the drawing on the February 14th, they're gonna do it March 17th.
Otherwise, it's all the same, right?
Yes,
March 17th?
17th, yep.
17th. Okay. I would move to approve this local raffle permit for McLean County Critters 4-H Club.
Second.
Any more discussion? Not hearing any, Tim?
Yes.
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 And yes. All right, another local raffle, Ducks Unlimited, Skakawea chapter.
They submitted theirs and they gave the whole listing of everything that will be there with the firearms, the fishing, hunting gear with the retail price. So
Yep.
that will be on February 22nd.
Move to approve.
Second?
Any more discussion? Not hearing any, Tim?
Yes.
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 And yes. All right, waiver of fees, the EMS fee.
Looks like February 1st, standard, every year, I guess, that it's been held, the fees have been waived.
Okay. Nothing different this year. Well, I would move to approve that also.
Second?
Discussion?
Yes, yes.
Um,
What?
I have one thing.
Sure.
The commission is invited to attend that banquet
Oh, okay,
if wanted.
okay.
They also invite local law enforcement and I believe some of the county fire board past members.
Okay, thanks, Mark, for the info.
Okay, Tim?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
And yes. All right, waiver fee, Washburn Life.
Are you still an officer?
Yes, he is.
Then you should recuse yourself and let Keith do it.
Sure. Okay, Chelsea, do you have any further information on this one, kind of same stuff as normal? for that?
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rhonda, I didn't see you. Come on up.
Washburn Life is asking for the fees to be waived for our Taste of Washburn, which will be held April 5th. It'll be from 4 to 7 p.m. And the theme is yet to be decided. Yet we have 4 choices.
Oh, you gotta have a theme or we can't approve it. Forget it.
You want to hear the themes?
No, I don't. That's okay.
Block party, beach bash, family game night. And there's another one.
That's okay. Sorry, Rhonda.
And it's free for the businesses to attend, like to have a booth and that sort
Yeah.
of stuff. So basically just a big community event, nice little get together.
Yep.
And we haven't decided, where the funds are gonna go at this time. I hear there's a few places and organizations in town that are doing fundraisers, so.
Okay, good. All right. I would move to approve this request,
Second.
even if you don't have a theme. That's okay, Rhonda.
I know.
Okay, excellent. We got a motion, a second, voting, or sorry, discussion?
Nope, good.
Voting
Yes.
starting with Tim.
Yes.
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 Thank you. I vote block party. In the summer. Start, the summer
Something like
feel.
the beach one, like businesses are gonna show up in swimsuits and
Is that a motion on the table? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Handing it back over to Mark then.
All right, thank you, Keith. All right, number 12, alcohol ordinance, change request. Super Bowl.
Okay, they submitted, you guys can come up. No one's here for that? They told me that someone would be here. They are asking for our type 3 off-sale liquor and beer license. Currently, we have one, and our ordinance states there's one. They are asking for us to increase that. The whole letter that was submitted, which was sent to you guys on what it could do for the city, it does have to go through an ordinance change. If we would want to increase that, that would be up to the commission. And if the commission then would want to go from 1 to 2 or go from 1 to 3 to allow for all 3 or the other 2 gas stations, I guess, that don't have the off sale of liquor and beer to have the opportunity to sell liquor off sale as well.
If you guys wanna look it up, that's on page 6, as far as our, what we're allowed to do. It's 5-02-09. Like Chelsea said, it would take an ordinance change.
You would have to go through 2 readings, and then they would have to apply for the license, they would have to pay the initial fee, it would have to be approved by the commission, so it's a drawn out process to get there, but the first step would be requesting to increase that or not, or we can leave it at 1 and that's what it is.
So right now, correct me if I'm wrong, we have 2 off-sale beer only, correct?
Yes,
And then we have 1 off-sale beer and liquor,
correct.
correct, okay. So, I guess I was trying to think of, options, you know, one would be, of course, to leave it. I don't think it would probably be in the interest of fair competition to just increase it by 1. If we were gonna increase it, it would make more sense to increase it by 2, which would, and then if you increased it by 2 for beer and liquor, so that you'd have a total of 3, would you wanna leave 2 in place for beer? You know, in case something came up in the future for that, so, but just increase it by 1, I think, that would be difficult, cause I think you'd have someone knocking on the door in a month or 2, the 3rd place in town, so.
What
So,
do they have,
maybe, all right,
oh, sorry, what do they have to pay for these licenses right now, like a liquor or beer
it's
license?
in here.
So to request a brand new one,
Yeah, or like what they're doing, or what these other people maybe have paid, I suppose like 83, they have it, or,
yep, and so in order to obtain the license, you have to pay the city issuance fee, which is listed here at 15,000. The renewal for that, I wanna say is 1,000. I think it's in here. 500 is the alcohol or the beer only. We just did all those. Yep, and so in order to obtain it, they would have to pay the issuance fee of 15,000 in order to even get the class 2 license.
so the class 2 is the liquor.
Class 2 is liquor and off-sale.
Or class 3, sorry. Off sale liquor and wine, on sale liquor is class 2, so class 3
Okay.
is more, it would be the initial $10,000.
Okay.
And we only have one of those per our ordinance. And then we only have 2 off sale beer only. And those are the current 2 gas stations that have them.
So as far as fairness to the people who have them, they paid for them, these guys would probably have to pay the same price for them, so if we
Yes.
increase it, it's kind of fair, I guess, to previous and new.
Yep, they'd have to pay that first fee and then obviously they just pay the renewal fee from there on out, like we just had all the renewals in December. So they had to pay their renewal fee in order to still sell beer after the 31st of December. Now, if they would wanna go to this, they would have to pay the initial $10,000 and I think it's $1,000 renewal fee.
So I guess the thing I'm thinking, Jamie, is that if you have, you know, a potential of, you know, 2 other places, you know, that sell just off-sale beer. So if you went to one, if they got here first, they'd get it before Super Pumper anyway, so I mean, I think in order to make a move, you might wanna extend it to 2 more instead of just 1 more, or to leave it the same.
Yeah, and class 3 renewals are $1,000.
So 2 more, leave Senex to apply for one and then leave 1 open, is that?
2 more would be for Super Pumper to have 1 and
Oh.
then for Sunix to have 1, but then you'd have 2 beer only open. So,
And then you could look at reducing those or leaving those the same too if, I don't know if somebody would come in and get those, but
so right now they have a class 4, that'd be beer only. right here.
correct, yes,
Okay.
yep,
So right now we have 2 class 4s
yep,
and we have 1 class 3.
correct.
Yep.
Right now we have 1 class 3,
We have 1 class 3,
Yeah.
which is 83, which is beer and liquor. And then we have 2 beer only, which is Interbase and, that's
Super
still Super Pumper? That's still both, okay. And then we, you know, if you extended it to 2 more, then would you wanna stay with the 2 beer only? You know, even though.
This is Super Pumper who brought this to us though,
Correct,
and they're
yeah.
not here to discuss it.
You know,
They told me someone would be here
Yeah.
on,
and we don't need to act on it tonight.
No.
Right.
That's kind of what I was getting.
Yep.
yeah, cause I told them that
Yep.
somebody needed to be here,
Yep.
they said someone would be, I didn't know who they were sending, but
I'm not shaming, I'm just,
Yeah.
that's what.
Oh, no, I mean, it's,
I'm not shaming them for I'm not sure.
Would it be out of line to maybe like to send something to the other business and say, hey, this is kind of going on? Because maybe we could switch to all three. You know what I mean? Instead of just switching from one and then they find out about it later just to get ahead of it a little bit. That'd be out of line just to inform them, I guess.
That's a
that-
good idea because they're actually owned out of Minot, so they might not really know that it's going on, down here, so.
True.
And that doesn't affect like, the bars, they're a different
Right.
deal. so
Ours are separate, yep.
They're separate from this.
Yep. They fall under the on-off sale liquor and beer, which is the class 1.
Okay. Does this, I mean, this wouldn't, we just have to make a vote, this wouldn't really cost us anything, really, so I mean, if you, wouldn't be any more to open up go from 1, go to 4 or 5 C3s, and then
I
4 or
think-
5,
I think before you really
Where's
opened it
that?
up, you'd wanna visit with law enforcement and stuff,
see what
because,
they think.
yeah. So.
And I did ask one of the officers to make sure, if there was a reason why we couldn't increase that due to population. And I read through the century code and there was nothing in there. He knew of nothing either. I did consult with David earlier today as well, and he saw no reason as to why we couldn't if that was what the commission wanted to do. So,
Yeah, I don't think I'd wanna swing the door too far open.
Yeah.
you know. But we, like I said, like Miranda, I kinda lean the same way she is that, if we need some time to think about it, we can bring it up in, is it January, February?
February meeting, yep,
Yeah.
and I can contact them again too, and
And I,
See
like
if they'll have
Steve,
someone.
like Keith said, maybe just reach out to Interbase and say, this is what we're contemplating or whatever, so.
And just for clarification, this would be like ordinance change, so first reading, second reading sort of stuff, so it'd be kind of drawn out anyway.
Yeah, so it'd be finalized at the earliest in March.
And
yeah, because it'd have to go to a
renewals-
first reading, a second reading, plus then they would have to send in the application, we'd have to approve that new application, get them a new license issued. So it would, I mean, there's a couple,
I guess what I meant by March is that's how long it take to get the ordinance in place, but then like you said, you'd have to go through the
yeah, because we
Applying
would
for
want
it.
to approve it and then leave the opportunity open. We can't just, if we would only go from 1 to 2, take theirs right away, it would have to
Yep.
be on the first come, first serve if we only go to 2, if we don't open up to everybody, so we'd have to keep everybody given that fair shot, so it would be at least, well, probably April now if we're gonna, unless we have it ready to go for a first reading in February.
And renewals are end of year, if I understand correctly?
Correct, yep.
So is there,
There's time, yeah. Oh, sorry, Julie.
was there one available beer, or basically C4, is there one available, or is that, it's,
No,
there's just
there's only 2 and those 2 are spoken for.
those 2?
Yep,
that would be Super Pumper and Interbase.
Okay, so
Yeah.
once you go to C3, it basically trumps C4.
You can still do what you're doing in 4, you can just do more.
yep, it gives them the opportunity to have liquor there for off sale too instead of just beer.
Gotcha.
How about if we revisit it next month, put it on the agenda for next month,
Okay.
get some more information?
Is there any more discussion? Do we need a motion to send out a letter to,
No, you can just instruct the officer.
okay.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, Clayton, we've already approved the EMS banquet, just so you know, the fire chief. I did mention that about, the commission would be invited to the EMS banquet. All right,
No doubt. You'll be there?
I'll be there.
I'll go home and circle my calendar. Only if I can sit by you, so.
Sure.
Okay,
Front table.
all right. No, I don't wanna sit there.
Hey, we can have a new speaker. All right, let's move on. 13, water fluoride considerations.
Okay.
Keith,
Thank you, Mark.
Adam, thank
Yeah,
you
come on
for
up.
joining us.
So I just have a little presentation like usual. I was speaking with some community members who were concerned over fluoride being added to our water. I was ignorant on the topic except for far out conspiracy theories that I've heard that were more entertaining than informative. In an effort to learn more on the subject, I've compiled some thoughts on it for our consideration. Why fluoride? Fluoride is an element found in nature. Water is the major dietary source of fluoride and naturally contains trace elements that vary depending on water source. The only known association with low fluoride intake is the risk of tooth decay, which there's a digital document of this available, and all my references are linked there. So anything with an underline in the physical copy does have some research, mostly stuff like PubMed or medical journals to back this up. So anyways, initially fluoride was considered beneficial when given systemically during tooth development. The later research has shown the importance and the advantages of its topical effects in the prevention of treatment of tooth decay. Topical is a mode of medication administration that's applied to the surface of something. For example, the sunscreen on the skin. When it's added to the water, it's ingested, and the topical application to the teeth is very limited due to the water exiting the mouth and going down the esophagus. Toothpaste that has fluoride, and when you go to the dentist and get fluoride topically applied to your teeth, you are not intended to swallow neither the toothpaste nor the fluoride paste applied by your dentist. There are dangers with swallowing toothpaste due to their high fluoride content at the recommendation of these dentists, with 2 links there with the citation. I think we should reconsider our adding of fluoride to the water supply for the following reasons. The 5 R's of medication administration. Fluoride has benefits when applied topically to the teeth to prevent tooth decay. As a health professional, when giving medication, I keep in mind the 5 R's of medication administration. Number 1, the right drug. If our goal as a city is to prevent tooth decay, we have abundant proof that fluoride will prevent tooth decay when applied topically. This R of medication administration checks out. Next one would be the right dose. This we do not have any control over. We can only control the amount in the water supply, not the actual amount someone will ingest. At best, this would be a very ineffective way to administer medication. Different people drink different amounts of water, and it's only by chance the appropriate dose would be given. Number 3, right time. This is difficult to determine as well. When was the patient's last visit to the dentist? Do they use a fluoride toothpaste? How long is the water in their mouth before swallowing to optimize the topical application? Number 4, right patient. We cannot determine if we are giving fluoride to people who actually need it. People have varied uses of fluoride toothpaste and varied needs depending on age and other related medical conditions. And 5, right route. As explained above, ingestion is the incorrect route to administer this medication. It is a medication that has its best effects applied topically. So that again is on the surface of something. With that being said, we are only 1 out of 5 for safe and effective ways to give a medication. And my question is, if we're supplementing and medicating our populace with fluoride, why would we stop at fluoride? If it's to treat deficiencies, which fluoride does, again, it does prevent cavities, why are we stopping there? There's a great vitamin D deficiency in our nation, and I'm sure in our community. Around 42% of the US population is deficient in vitamin D, especially those with darker skin. There's an iron deficiency. Iron deficiency can be caused by a number of things, including blood loss, certain medications, and insufficient dietary iron. There's a vitamin B12 deficiency. A diet that does not include enough meat, fish, and dairy products can lead to a vitamin B deficiency. There's a calcium deficiency, which is, I'll just skip that part, I mean, calcium, strong bones, you know. Magnesium, about 70% of the US population is deficient in that. Vitamin C, and folate. So if we're going to continue to medicate for deficiencies in our population, we should at least be consistent and supplement in other ways as well, if that is our job as a civil magistrate. A follow-up thought on this is also that if we're at war with tooth decay and we'll go to the length of medicating our population to prevent it, should we not also discourage the use of products that cause tooth decay? Possibly implementing a tax on refined sugar, which leads to tooth decay, and the source for that is listed there. But just a thought, if we're at war with this tooth decay, why would we not then try and prevent it in other ways as well, if we were to be logically consistent?
See, Keith,
Yes, sir.
can we see if there's any questions on what you went over before you go through everything?
I only have 1 page left. If we could finish, then we can go
Okay.
line by line if you want.
Sure.
So are there any dangers associated with fluoride? If we're going to medicate our population, we should at least be aware of some of the possible dangers associated with it, and below are possible dangers and links to the government study that asserts that danger. So I do have 14 studies for this first one. We did receive in an email, in case everyone did not see it, just to make you aware, from an individual from the American Fluoride Association, kind of giving you a good thing that correlation is not equal causation, which I would definitely agree with in medical studies. And he did cite some of these studies here, but that is not the primary argument. But just so everyone's aware and everyone knows that that was sent out, because it was like 30 minutes ago. So just to bring that to the table. But according to these 14 studies, it may disrupt thyroid function and other issues in pregnant women, including lower IQ in children. Number 2, prenatal fluoride exposure. It has visual acuity and autonomic nervous system function in 6-month-old infants, with the archive link right there. Cognitive ability was assessed in children exposed to a range of fluoride levels in drinking water. So then there's the 2 studies that would kind of talk about that. Development neurotoxicity and impairment of learning, memory, and cognitive function. And then there was 1 study for that one. It may disrupt thyroid function. There's a study there. Neurotoxicity and mitochondrial dysfunction on cognition and mental health. So that's kind of saying the same thing, but it was different enough to just put it there. But headache and joint pain, that's kind of because I forget the name for it, but it has to go somewhere, right? So it gets processed through the liver and that sort of stuff and then excreted, but it does kind of solidify bones. So that's what that one's talking about, where it talks about headache and joint pain. That's kind of the association there. Trouble sleeping, critical windows of fluoride, neurotoxicity in Canadian children with a link, and I'll just skip the rest of it, but there was a few other dangers as well as links to the studies that would assert that. It appears as if and then just another thought, I guess, it appears as the incoming Trump Association will be looking at these issues with RFK Jr. involved. It'd be wise to get ahead of the game and at least start the conversation and weigh the possible dangers against the benefits for our community. The final section would be the cost for our community members. We have people in our community who are aware of the possible dangers of fluoride and choose to remove it through filtration from their family's drinking supply. This incurs extra cost on our local families due to standard water filters rarely removing fluoride and requiring extra filters. For example, Berkey filters require an extra $99 fluoride filter per 1,000 gallons of water. Brita does not even sell a filter that guarantees the removal of it. And if we're in this, we're costing our health conscious residents hundreds to thousands of dollars because we are medicating them in a way that they're not okay with. So in conclusion, we as a community should promote medical freedom by giving our citizens the right to choose whether or not they are medicated with fluoride and not thrust it upon them in the water we are providing to them. Thank you for your time.
Jim, would you like?
You'd like to go first, that's why.
Well, I talked with Keith about this after the last meeting, and I don't know. I know the basic chemistry around it. I know why we add it, but I have not done a lot of research on it. So I reached out to a colleague, Jim Kershaw from Bismarck, and he graciously offered to come up and kind of give his perspective. So I'll let him.
Yeah, come on up, Jim.
Come on, Jim.
I'm Jim Kershaw, I'm the water plant superintendent for the city of Bismarck.
If
I've
that
been there
chair,
just about 41 years now.
if that chair's too low, they do raise up.
Okay,
so-
that's fine.
Okay.
I do have my notes because I'm old and forgetful and I want to make sure I hit some of the high points. I guess I can answer some of the questions you brought up,
Yeah, thank you.
because I've got a little experience with it, but, what really, this is my personal, I gotta reuse my readers, sorry. This is my personal learning experience on fluoridation. I didn't know a lot about information and all the oral health benefits of community water fluoridation, or CWF, until the city of Bismarck looked at stopping in 2018. The reason we thought about stopping was because we had a new mayor and 2 new commissioners, and they wanted to cut budgets. Uneducated me said, what about the $40,000 a year we spend on fluoride? Well, after talking with public health professionals at the local, state, and national level, and reading the research that both supports and opposes community water fluoridation, we decided that the 50 cents per customer per year was far cheaper than oral health costs that our 80,000 customers would pay to the dentist, which can average from $20 to $40 per person per year. For us, that translates to $1.6 to $3.2 million in saved dental costs. For Washburn, if you assume you have 1,400 residents, that's $28,000 to $56,000. And I don't even know if you guys spend $1,000 on additive, fluoride additive.
$700, I think.
About 800, yeah.
So you're about that $500 or 50 cents per person per year. So that's good. Community water fluoridation is especially beneficial to the underprivileged that can't afford proper dental care. It does not discriminate by race, religion, color, gender, or income. CWF is the most cost-effective way to provide dental protection. You don't even have to leave your home to benefit. In January 2024, I heard testimony in McVille from a dentist that practices in the rural small town near there. And she told us that she could tell by looking in the mouths of children which ones were on well water and which ones came from a fluoridated town. The decay rate and cavities are much higher in the non-fluoridated children. Another trip to McVille, and they got more information, and they decided to reinstate community water fluoridation. That was last January and into February. They voted to stop it in, I believe, November of 2023. We found out about it and went up there in January, then I made a trip up there in February because some of the commissioners were gone. So that was, they overturned it. Another little interesting fact is just last Monday night, the city of Grand Forks has brought it up. Also, they have a commissioner that every year she does not have, she brings it up about not drinking the tap water and, the poison that fluoride, she thinks fluoride is. So that should be going on here in the state also. One thing that surprised me is that most dentists support community water fluoridation, which is something that would cost them money earned from extra services. That fact alone proved to me that they are truly public health orientated and not just out to make dollars. Water operators are also public health orientated and not just out to make, or excuse me, we're also public health orientated and some would say that fluoride is the only thing we add for health reasons. I would like to say that chlorination and corrosion control treatment that is used to provide a safe coating for service lines in the distribution system are also a couple things we do to provide public health benefits. We would stop chlorination, you would have typhoid and cholera and things like that again, which we can't, so. It is not forced medication, it is supplementing a beneficial element. The additive used for fluoridation is no different than the naturally occurring fluoride that is found in all water. The antis use the same topics from place to place. And the other thing is, well, I'll get to it here. Fluoride has been in the water since the beginning of time, and CWF has been in practice for 80 years. I would think that if it caused serious issues, it would have been heavily regulated many years ago. EPA regulates public water systems on things down to the parts per billion and parts per trillion. The bottled water industry has minimal, if any, regulation. Excuse me. To put it in perspective, 0.7 parts per million, which is the same as milligrams per liter, is equal to 1 inch in 23 miles, 1 minute in 1,000 days, 1 cent in $14,000. For every study that opposes CWF, there are two or three times that amount in support of it. Fluoride does work systematically. By being in your saliva and coating teeth with a small amount constantly during the day, protects from cavity-causing bacteria and re-strengthens enamel. You can ask the dentist about that. It helps all age groups and not just during childhood tooth development. The United States has supplemented many elements for public health reasons, such as calcium, folic acid, and vitamin D in bread and milk. Also, iodine in salt has been proven beneficial, and there's probably some other examples out there. Water is the most efficient way to supplement fluoride for health reasons. That is why community water fluoridation is so important. If people choose to remove fluoride in their own home, an RO unit can be purchased for less than $200. It still does not remove 100% of fluoride, and it removes the disinfectant and the calcium and magnesium, which are also essential elements. In parts of Europe, they don't fluoridate water. Some don't, some do. But the nations that don't add fluoride to salt when the natural level in the water is not close to optimal. The claims that community water fluoridation causes every ailment from A to Z that the opponents say seem to be a little outlandish to me, especially at the level of 0.7 parts per million. I can possibly see things being different at the high levels of 4 to 10 parts per million found naturally in China, India, Canada, and other places, which is where a lot of the studies the opponents reference to come from. So thank you for listening, and if you guys have any questions at any time, you can feel free to contact me. Thank you. Any questions or?
No, thank you. I definitely agree with the first part too. It's not about cost, for sure. Definitely
Right.
not about cost. Like it is so cheap, it's so effective. Absolutely, for sure. I guess just one comment on the systemic working of it. I guess I looked at like 30, 40 studies and I saw no evidence for that on both sides. But yeah, I guess just because basically all the positive effects are from topical, from what I'd see, even the studies referenced by the ADA, and all the possible side effects would be past that in ingestion and the systemic.
Well, that's what brings it up. Your teeth are the only bone that you can actually see.
Mhm.
So you can see the effects of it, and it's gotta be from the saliva, a lot of it too, in a
Right.
small dosage. I guess I forgot to mention, or maybe I did miss it, but, even if you, remove it, I must have missed something here, but, the Missouri River system, you guys are adding it to 0.7 or so. The Missouri River system, where you get your raw water from, has between 0.4 and 0.5 naturally. And we just supplement that 2 to 3 tenths difference. So, you're still gonna have fluoride in your water even if you stop community fluoridating. 0.7 has, the current science has determined that 0.7 is the optimal dosage. If the science changes, we go with it. So that's just all I have to say about that, I guess.
No, thank you. Yeah, and I'm not advocating for us putting an extra effort to remove it at all.
Right.
But just the supplementation.
Education is fine, that's what we're here to do, and we had that in that bill, we're gonna probably have it in Grand Forks fairly soon. I actually personally know Johnny Johnson, cause we've done, it's kind of the hot topic now because of the national toxicology lawsuit that came out,
Yes.
which we can really get into the woods there if you guys want more information on it or want things sent to you. But, that's where this biggest thing comes from, and that's why the anti-fluoridators are actively really going at it right now. They just took from, in October, November, and December, it's been hitting Wisconsin, Florida, a lot of other states. It took till January to come to North Dakota. And like I said, I'm talking more about Grand Forks than say, Washburn here.
I do have one question for you and Adam. So the Missouri River has, you know, whatever percentage of fluoride in it already in the raw water.
0.4 to 0.5 parts.
So there's nothing in the water treatment process that pulls any of that out, is there?
Yeah, you'll lose a little bit during softening, but very, very little.
Okay.
Which we don't do.
And
Okay.
the other,
we-
the
so
other
we don't
option
do
is
that.
reverse osmosis and membrane, and then you still put a side stream back into it. But reverse osmosis, if you can't drink straight reverse osmosis water, because you're taking out your calcium and your magnesium and all those other things. It's super soft water, but it's very corrosive for out in your distribution system. RO water is not real good for you.
That's not a process we have either. so.
Right, okay. So
And
like-
if, that's a good point I thought of when we were just going over this presentation is, if RFK changes that, are they going to, make everybody remove it and go with RO or something? Cause it's always in the water, it's still gonna be there. So I thought I might have
So
went too
the
far.
RO,
Reverse osmosis?
right, so does RO have to be used with the water softener system too then, or?
No, it takes all the stuff out.
Okay,
It takes everything out, like just about everything, and it's really not safe to drink RO water because you're not getting your calcium, your magnesium,
Yeah.
and some of your other nutrients.
It acts as its own softener, basically.
okay,
Right.
It'll pull those nutrients out of your body if you drink.
Yeah, good point.
It's like you're not supposed to drink distilled water for that reason.
Yep, that's why you don't drink distilled water, because that water will actually take the calcium out of your bones.
I have a son that's a chemical engineer, and that's what he was telling us too, that the RO water just literally absorbs those out of your body, so.
Yep. Even some of these bottled waters aren't necessarily the healthiest all the time.
Pointing at my bottle.
It's convenient. Yeah, I had some other stuff.
And Adam, you quoted that we run at a 0.8 approximately?
0.8, yeah. It'll vary a little bit because of the water we get from the river, but yeah.
And the other part of that is, if you have issues with any testing equipment, or you need, like, any equipment that you may possibly need to support your community fluoridation, there is some grant money available through the Health and Human Services in North Dakota here. It's very minimal, but if it's the difference between turning it off and getting help, and like you said, it's not really a money issue, it's an education issue. We're glad to talk anytime. I guess one other thing I'd like to point out is, you'd have to look into how it first got initiated in Washburn. It may have to, public comment and ordinance change also. That's what Grand Forks is looking at, if you go watch their last commission meeting, from like the 55-minute mark.
How does the North Dakota Health Department fall into this?
They are just our regulatory agency. They monitor to make sure these operators are doing what we're supposed to be doing. And if they're not reporting, they'll let you know on that. North Dakota is not a mandatory state, but there are like 12 or 16 mandatory states in the country. Minnesota is actually one, if they're over 3,300. I find it funny, South Dakota is actually a mandatory state, North Dakota has a higher percentage of fluoridated systems than South Dakota does.
We take a sample each month and send it in.
Right.
To the state, yep, for fluoride.
And they watch, daily also at some point in time, but to verify it, you take a monthly sample, send it in, and that's your official one. And they usually like to get the operators numbers too, to make sure their testing equipment is the way it should be.
Our testing equipment's actually pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm.
The operating range is technically between 0.6 and 1.0. If you start getting too close to a little below 0.7, you can fall under. And yeah, you can actually go, they say it's high as, you know, that's the range they really wanna see it in. The MCL, the lower level is 2.0 parts per million, which is 3 times what you guys are putting in. And the actual, contaminant level maximum is 4.0, where you should be removing. There's actually a non-community water system out in western North Dakota that theirs is 9 parts per million coming right out of the ground. You don't wanna drink that. I would say not to drink that water all the time. It'd be fine for a little while, cause, you know, it's not gonna affect you at that rate for short term. And these dosages we're using, even at long term, there's been no health effects. I mean, like I said, EPA regulates, I don't know if you guys are doing UCMR5 yet, they look for contaminants that aren't even on the radar yet. Well, PFAS and PFOs are kind of the biggest thing right now, which kind of is a big thing, not so much in North Dakota, and then lithium. That's what they tested, last time they tested a bunch of other stuff in the 3-year cycle when we did UCMR4. So EPA makes us do a lot of testing just to see if there is something in the water, and they're always looking for something.
Thank you.
And anytime you guys need any more information, if you guys actually do decide to vote on it, you know, let us know. Cause we can definitely have more people to support it, we could have a hour-long slideshow on some of them report. You know, and like you said, kind of what the anti say is, all it does is stops the cavities. If your teeth get bad enough and you have to require like general anesthesia surgery and things like that, Dr. Johnson has a lot of things that he's seen that are really bad. And a lot of it comes, I came from a non-fluoridated well in the country, so my teeth are bad, plus some other reasons, but it's definitely beneficial. That's what the city of Bismarck decided in 2018. We didn't vote on it, just between me, my director and myself. We thought it was worth the effort to continue.
So just to clarify, you don't have any, like, you don't work for Big Fluoride.
Oh,
You just have worked, you work for the city of Bismarck, and this
I
is what
do.
you have.
This is what I learned since 2018 that I wanna share. I've actually helped. It's what I've learned, and I'm excited about sharing it with other people, because not everybody knows. I think the people at large think we're just dumping fluoride in, and there's nothing in there, and we're just dumping it in to be dumping it in. No, it's natural, it varies. Each region, area, town can be different depending on their water source and where they get it from. I do this on my own time, and to help colleagues like this, and you'll probably see my smiling face in Grand Forks too, at some point in time if it comes to any type of a vote or anything like that. And definitely you'll see some of the education. We could bring you all kinds of stuff. We actually, like I said, we were in Macville in last January. And yeah, it was a pretty long deal. And once we presented the oral health benefits and things, they were fine. They were fine with it, any fears they had. The ADA has a book called Fluoridation Facts. I believe it's on the link to AFS's website too. And anything anybody brings up about some of the things that are bad or whatever, you can look it up and just read the facts. I guess I trust the ADA, the Department of Defense actually promotes fluoridation because a soldier or airman with a toothache can't be deployed. They know it strengthens it, and they're actually required to have a certain level, optimal level. So, and I understand you guys probably get concerns, that's where, and questions from the public on why you're doing it. Hopefully Adam will be able to answer a few other things, but a lot of that stuff, and I can see it's exaggerated in very, very high dosages. And you gotta remember too, it does occur in like tea and stuff. In China and stuff, they drink a lot of tea. Well, that's super loaded. There's actually people that have misused fluoride products and stuff also. And they'll say, okay, the other thing that gets brought up is there's the call poison control if your child swallows toothpaste. By the time they swallow enough of it, the detergent or whatever's in there, they're gonna throw it up before they're sick. And there's gonna be a short-term overexposure like that is not gonna cause permanent damage. So.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely, it makes sense. The water is not necessarily the only supply of it, though.
Right.
People are drinking beer that's possibly made with the fluoridated water, you know, eating meats and fish and all this other sort of stuff that's been washed in it, and however that goes. So there's definitely supplementary sources of it coming in. Just from like a, you know, a thinking perspective, I just don't see it as the role of government to play a hand in medicine, even if it is super duper cost effective, because then we get extremely inefficient with it. Because if the appropriate way is for a topical application, like on the actual tooth, rather than people ingest it, where the possible side effects can come in, right? Because all the topical ways, so if in a perfect world, so I like to just go there, you know what I mean? In a perfect world, we would have like a separate tank of fluoridated water. And with that, people would get it and whatever their prescribed amount, like if we want to be really in depth, go to a doctor, see what your levels are that you need and that sort of stuff. Then they'd put it on their teeth, swish it in their mouth for that appropriate time and spit it out. Obviously, a complete waste of time and all this other sort of stuff, right? But honestly, that would be the more effective way to do it. It'd be the more cost effective. It'd be all these sorts of things because having them ingest it doesn't seem. I saw no studies that prove that.
I could possibly find some for you. I
That'd
know
be
who
good,
to
yeah.
talk to.
Mhm.
I know who to talk to. And I don't know what's out there. There's so many studies and is my science better than your science? And you believe somewhere in the middle and thing. And like I said, at the levels we use, cause there are natural systems that are 0.7 and even higher. And are there IQ effects or anything like that or build up in the bones? And I don't consider it mass medication. I consider it public health, just like our chlorination and our corrosion control treatment.
Sure.
That's, I guess, however you wanna read it, potato, I
The
guess.
main difference I'd see from that is the chlorination and the kind of where you're killing germs is you're preventing stuff that the water would cause itself, right? So like the dirt, the whatever sort of germs or bacteria in the water, you're preventing that harm from being done from that substance, right? Whereas you have a patient who might have a disease and then you're trying to treat it. So that's the primary difference I see there. Does that kind of make sense? So instead of trying to prevent harm, you are trying to prevent disease with this, if that makes sense.
Technically, you're preventing dental disease with the optimal level of 0.7 fluoride.
Absolutely, yep.
So I guess that's what I would say,
Mhm.
you know,
I'm just saying from, like, if you're manufacturing a product and you're giving it to someone, there's a difference between preventing a harm, you know, like, so killing bacteria or something that could cause a harm to the individual consuming that product. And then the difference between that and then trying to treat something that the individual possibly might have. You know, maybe they use fluoride toothpaste, fluoride mouthwash, go to the dentist every week, you know, whatever it may be. So they don't have need for that treatment. But yet we're still choosing very inefficiently to treat them for a disease that they don't even have.
well, we're treating so little of, you know, adding so little, I don't really consider it treatment either. I
Mhm.
consider it prevention.
Right, but what I'm saying is they have nothing to be prevented if they're already having an optimal level through other means. Is kind of what I'm thinking.
And I think anything that's super excess, it's just like anything else we consume. A lot of it's gonna go out of your body. It would take, at 0.7, you would have to drink, it's like anything else, you'd have to drink 500 gallons of water every day to set the age of 75 before some of the things that would harm you or affect you. At those smaller dosages, or levels, I should say, not dosages, at those smaller levels, it just doesn't build up.
Sure.
And like I said, there's places out there that are 1.0, 1.5 naturally, and what are their effects? They don't have any control over the dosage they're getting, or the amount they're getting also.
Mhm.
That's kinda, I guess, how we wanna go with this.
Mhm. Makes sense.
Like I said, I don't really consider it medication, I consider it supplements.
Potato.
Yep.
Yeah. However you want to spin it, right? Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, any questions you guys have, like I said, Adam's got my contact information, and you can shoot me an email or give me a call anytime.
Mhm.
But no, I'm not paid by Big Pharma, I do this on my own. I do it out of my own expense a lot of time for gas money and stuff, but we haven't gone to a lot of places, I've done a lot of virtual stuff. My expenses are covered, we were in New Hampshire in November to teach water operators. I've actually, you know, Johnny and I were both up there, water operators, dental health people on the fluoridation and stuff, and I've actually done the couple of ladies from the oral health department in North Dakota here and I have done operator training, we've done some seminars at our pollution control conference, just to educate people on fluoridation and address if operators have concerns with, you know, anything they're dealing with on it, and just safety, you know, safety. And like I said, fluoride is no more dangerous than anything else we use in water treatment. They wanna, you know, skull and crossbones and all that stuff,
Right.
and things like that. At the levels we use it, I wouldn't go up to the tank and drink, you know, 6 ounces of anything we have that's in liquid form,
No, that's a good point, yeah.
so.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come up.
Yeah,
Well, thank you for listening, and if you need any more information, feel free to get a hold of me through Adam or however.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pam, did you guys wanna read your letter?
I don't know if we need to read it, was it supplied?
I can make copies of it.
Yeah, I can send it to you.
I can
I
just
got it.
grab theirs.
Oh, does she have it? Okay, I'm saying,
No,
I have it.
she's-
I have it pulled up in the email. Does she have it?
Should I make some copies of it?
Sure, you can make some copies of it if they wanna go over it.
Oh. You want me to read? She sent 2 of them.
If you want, or just kinda go over some of the talking points that you guys put in your support of it.
Okay, so I know our health officer, or our executive officer had put some talking points together. And she's got a 4-page and she did supply them today. And that one does have some studies, in it, that you guys can read, you know, further in depth, but, she had just put, you know, fluoridation of public water supplies is a major public health measure with support from global health organizations, such as ADA, CDC, and WHO. It is a cost-effective method to prevent dental decay, especially in children. Some dental benefits of fluoride: it strengthens tooth enamel, helps remineralize enamel, making it more resistant to decay, especially in developing children's teeth. It prevents tooth decay, reduces cavities by about 25% in both children and adults, improving long-term oral health. It's cost-effective. It reduces the need for expensive dental treatments, saving families and communities money, especially in low-income areas. It promotes health equity, ensures equal dental protection, particularly for children in underserved communities with limited access to dental care. Again, the safety, fluoridation at 0.7 ppm is safe, with no credible evidence linking it to negative health effects like cancer or kidney disease. Excessive fluoride exposure is typically from natural sources, not regulated water systems. Some supporting evidence: studies show fluoridated water reduces cavities by 25% and provides dental protection, particularly to children. Fluoridated water communities have lower cavity rates than non-fluoridated ones. And like I said, she did have some studies in here that were done by other places that supported the changes when they took out the fluoridation, and then how that increased their rates of cavities and everything. And so then they did reinstate to put it back in. And so that is in the 4-page one. She's got a Calgary, Canada, fluoride removal at increased cavities, especially in low-income children. One from Portland, Oregon, one from the UK, and one from Ontario, Canada. Kind of all the same, removing it did increase and worsen dental health, especially in lower income areas. So in conclusion, fluoridated public water is an essential proven public health measure that ensures better oral health for all children. Evidence strongly supports the safety, efficacy, and equity of water fluoridation, emphasizing its importance in preventing health disparities and improving long-term dental outcomes. So we do offer fluoride varnish in our offices. It is only safe to provide fluoride varnish on the teeth 4 times a year. So my daily intake of water, you are getting that daily intake every day, rather than just 4 times a year of getting it painted on. That does not last you the whole year worth of getting daily fluoride to help constantly protect that. And especially those little ones when their teeth are developing, and they don't have teeth, but their teeth are coming in, I mean, kids can, by the time their teeth can emerge, if they don't have proper care, they can emerge baby teeth with cavities already in their teeth. So I mean, there are benefits besides painting it on, because if they don't have teeth yet, they can be born with, they can come and emerge with cavities when those teeth come out. So there is that benefit of fluoride in your drinking.
Question. You didn't say who you were.
I'm from Wiltshire, I'm the public health nurse.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yep, yep,
Just curious. Thank you.
yep.
I have a question for you. Is this information easy to share with the public in some sort?
I would assume so, yep. Like I said, our executive officer put all this together and did a bunch of research to put some talking points together on Friday. So, I mean, this would all be, I mean, public knowledge that we could share, yeah.
I Googled, fluoride ban this afternoon.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure most of the stuff was in there. Or more stuff than we take a stick at.
Yeah,
I mean, it's all pretty public knowledge, I mean, it's,
Sure, yeah.
I mean, there's nothing new or not reinventing the wheel, and we're not hiding anything or making anything up, so it's,
Yeah.
you know,
In general, as being public health, we support the fluoridation, and I think that's what our position statement is. We just wanted to submit that when we found out there was discussion.
It's a good topic, I mean, to look into, but
We did actually have several local dentists that were gonna send letters, but they didn't get it to us quick enough. So their letters of support also, so the oral health, public health, water operators. The guys from the CDC said water operators have prevented more cavities than all the dentists put together.
yeah, the Keith's information, I researched everything, kind of going through it for a couple days, and there's a lot of good things, so. Okay. Any more discussion?
I guess I just have a quick comment. I'm not sure what gives sources more credibility than others. So I don't really like how we've like discredited some sources and upheld others just because. Like you actually have to look at how the research was done, what were their control groups. Like the nice dentist put with the correlation does not equal causation. Because if I wanted to get personal, I could say I have issues with the CDC and the WHO since the whole COVID as a paramedic working the streets through that whole debacle. So I mean, I would prefer if we didn't do that because we have studies on both sides
Right.
that would have evidence for it rather than poo-poo this is it, these are the trust
Oh,
the
yeah.
science sort of thing. So I just want to say that, yeah.
We can get you some of that information also on some of the ones that they consider, you know, the actual recognized medical journals and things like that, the people that really know it. There's just a lot of information out there on that, and we can possibly get you on how, I don't fully understand all that stuff, because I'm just a lowly water operator.
Sure.
But, I do know people that have that information, and some of them are just considered not as reliable studies, and how they did their sequencing of testing and, their scientific aspect of it. Because there are places that actually know how to recognize what's, you know, been done properly and what's been done just thrown against the wall, you know. So we could share some of that with you.
No, I'd appreciate that because I'm definitely I'm not much above a lowly water operator. I'm just a nerd who pretends, right?
Yeah.
So basically, I did take a class on this during my schooling, like how to read studies and that sort of stuff. So that's kind of how I approached this, and I'm looking at the different studies, how they did it, like look through it. But I really appreciate this.
I'm sure Dr. Johnson will be able to go through the method because he's done a lot of work in this in the past also. He's a pediatric dentist out of Florida.
Okay, sure. Excellent.
That was that late email you got, cause he's been really busy, so.
No problem. I'm sure, yeah, with all the above and all that, yeah.
Is there a way to test your home water, effectively or efficiently, or
For,
just anything, or fluoride if you wanna know, or is that even a thing, or?
well, we test the water. It'll be the same for your water, for my water, for anybody else.
And then you kick out those, what they end up in the newspaper, don't they, or,
That one ends up in the newspaper once a year, the CCR report, yep,
okay.
yep. And that number is on there, yep.
So if you wanna know, you could go to that and.
Yep, or they can just contact me or email me, whatever.
Cause you take different samples from different parts of town.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then anything that's out of line, you have to notify the city and has to be public knowledge.
Yep.
There is a thing called My Water's Fluoride through the CDC. You can check pretty much any participating person or any participating town in any state in the union. So, it's a little behind date, but it's through the CDC and it's called My Water's Fluoride. And you can see who's reporting, who's not, who's doing a good job, who's not, and just different things like that. And Adam, just to highlight his, I know he probably checks a lot of different parameters, but technically it should be very similar throughout your whole
It
distribution.
doesn't really change, no.
Yeah, that doesn't change. No, wells can be different depending on where you're at, things like that. You know, we shouldn't be testing that for people if it's on their own private well, but you can send it also to the state, DEQ, and, or Minnesota Valley Testing Lab will do it also.
Right,
Anything.
yeah, if you wanted to test your own water, I could do some stuff for you, not just talking about fluoride, talking about anything. But, yeah, MVTL and Bismarck they test water, so.
Okay.
If for some reason you wanted to test your water for something, you take it to them.
If you're on the city source, you're being tested like you wouldn't believe anywhere.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Between the operator and then what we submit to the DEQ.
Mhm.
Hey, Joe, yeah,
Yeah, I guess just to put the baby to bed or whatever, even with the evidence, like I would be interested in still seeking the removal, but obviously we've had some things behind, you know, dentists didn't get their letters in, I would like all this other information just to educate, we can make an informed decision. How I wanna do that, I don't know how to properly do this, but I'd like to maybe just see if there's even interest from the commission, right, so I can just leave it alone, right? So, make a motion in a second to put it on the next agenda. And then that's just where I'll leave it. And the reason being because then if that doesn't get a full vote, I'll just leave it alone, okay? So motion and second to put it on the next
Well,
agenda.
you can just ask Chelsea to put it on the next
I
agenda.
wanna know if there's interest from the commission though to even
Well, I'd like to
continue
look
talking
and see
about
what
it.
else they've got, so,
But that's what I'm looking for, so the motion on the table, I guess. But
just to study it more.
to literally study it more and talk about it next week, or sorry, next month.
Yeah, I guess I'd move that we could study it more and talk about it next month.
Okay, second.
Is there any question? Not hearing any, Tim?
Yes.
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 Okay.
And if I may, Mark, just say, I'd really appreciate just any other information. You can get my email from Chelsea. And
If Johnny's available, either through a phone call or I don't know, I was asked Adam about a laptop or we have to bring our own laptop or however to do like a PowerPoint thing. We have PowerPoints, but it, coming from Johnny, he knows it inside and out and the different studies. He, like I said, he was trained as a dentist, did a lot of his stuff on, like fluoride in breast milk when he was in college and things like that, so he's been interested in it for a long, long time. But he's really committed to a lot of other places, all over the country, to educate people and preach.
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, gonna move on to number 14, FLR Sanders proposal.
We had this on the agenda last month, for resurfacing the floor. I had sent the email to all of you when I got those questions answered. If there's any other questions that you need, or if you want to decide to,
Stay with the water base.
yeah, I mean, even at the recommendation of her, staying at the water base is the way to go. And also with we would know, I guess, if it needs to be done every year or every 2 years based on the usage and what goes on over there, with it being an all-purpose floor, not just a gym floor. I think it does need to be done every year because it's not used with just gym shoes or gym patrons. It is used for the general public and walking and
Polka.
yeah, yes, events, spills, everything. So
Okay.
And then you would just schedule it in?
yep, they have us on the agenda in May.
Okay.
So I just need to let her know that we are gonna proceed with this and make sure that that time slot is still open. And then it would be done, I think it's like the week before, leading up to, but I know it would be done with enough time to cure for the Memorial Day program, cause it was right around that time, but I think it was a week prior, and there's no issue there.
So, I would move that we would accept this bid from FLR Sanders Incorporated to resurface or refinish the gymnasium floor, and that, the scheduling of it be done out of the auditor's office. So, $4,071.
I second it.
Any question? And we are going with the water base, just
Right.
to verify.
Yep.
I guess just quick discussion. Thank
Sure.
you for getting all of our questions nicely answered here. Thank you
Yep.
For that, for sure.
Very good. All right, Tim?
Yes.
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 And yes. All right. Memorial building updates. The basement work, and the winch system. There was a little confusion. I know at the last meeting, we talked about getting, bids on the concrete work or the floor repair. When they, Legion talked to the contractors about going down there and getting bids and stuff, they had to tear into the floor to actually see how much damage there was. And they told the contractors that they were gonna pay for it, so they told them, go ahead and just tear it out. So in that room that is in the hallway off of there, some of the problems that they found was the concrete was between 2 and 6 inches thick, that there was a high amount of lime in the concrete. And it looked like they possibly used river sand when they mixed their concrete. They probably did it by hand back in the day. And it just deteriorated and it was heaving and stuff. So they apologize for any miscommunication. I asked in the future that we make sure that we communicate better in the future. So, and then you do see the bid proposal, and then the Legion, so the work is all done, and then they also did the work, in the furnace room. They took out the bad concrete and replaced it, it's all been poured, looks excellent, so.
This was, the Legion paid for this?
Yep.
Yep. Thank you very much.
100%.
Yep.
I know if Adam comes back, there is one other room that has some, concrete floor damage and it kind of runs up the wall. Larry, maybe you know about it? You're nodding your
I
head.
think it's that room that,
It's,
isn't it where the trees are?
yes,
Yes, I already talked with the Legion, and if they have time this winter, they will look into.
So anyways, I talked to the contractors, I said, it'll have to be approved before we do any more work down there, so. All right,
If I may just ask, so it's adjacent to this topic, but just something with the Memorial Hall in general. Just with some of the miscommunications, like that obviously happens, no problem. Would it be beneficial if there was like a committee with, city, obviously buildings and grounds, that'd be always on there, maybe another commissioner or city worker, whatever it may be. And then the very involved players of the community as well that could be on this committee and can make decisions for this. You know what I mean? Because then it would all be centralized in one spot, be able to talk about it, have meetings, that sort of thing. So for example, like 2 Legion members could be on there. We have community members, some school people, and just kind of a bigger conglomerate thing where they'd be able to kind of discuss, because then everyone would be in the know. Because it kind of seems, and I'm not blaming anybody, but it kind of seems like, well, they did this, and then they did this, and then it goes, doot, 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 and it goes to like the 4 other people that are involved over there, and then they don't really have the input that they could have, you know, so I don't know if there'd be any benefit to maybe talking about that more, but I just wanted to bring it up in relation to this. What are your thoughts on this?
I think if it involves like renting the building or something like that, but like this, we're isolated areas, like this room that nobody ever uses and it's just storage. And then same thing with that furnace room. I think it's something that was well overdue needing done before it causes somebody to trip and fall and get hurt and, you know.
Oh, sorry, I mean big picture, so like bleachers or like the painting of the
Okay.
stage and that, and then just all these other sorts of things. Oh, we need a new oven. Well, then the committee gathers what oven, you know, like that sort of thing.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that'd be helpful. If not, that's fine, but I just wanted to bring it up, I guess.
Well, I'm gonna bring up some of those other, like the winch system. Okay, so, we're not putting in we're just updating the winch system that's in now. It's gonna be, I wish Adam was in here, it'll be electrical instead of,
You want me to get in?
yeah, sure. He's had to deal with it more than anybody.
Yeah?
It's all stated in here too of
Yeah.
what it is, cause they're having to hand crank it because the tool that they were using is not working, and there's the fear of it just crumbling down, with it being hand cranked, because that wire that's holding it together is not stable anymore, so with the hall being used the way that it is, those hoops have to go up and down, so we can't sit and continue to do the hand crank without it possibly just falling completely off.
Yeah, so I don't know what you talked about, but it was designed to use a hand crank. We did it for many, many, many years. The Legion decided to buy a power tool. It just goes too fast. It just ate away the gears really badly. At one point, we looked at it and we decided that structural failure is imminent on this thing, and if that happens, that'd be bad, obviously. That hoop free falling from the top it'd probably end up on the floor, and maybe through the floor. So definitely needs replacement.
If I may say something on that.
Sure, Larry.
That big pipe is way too heavy. You know, I think that's the main problem. You know, yeah, the big pipe that
Comes
comes
down
down
from the
both
top.
baskets.
Oh, I see.
The support,
Yeah, I mean, that thing is, you know, it's this big around. It is so damn heavy. I think that's really an issue, quite honestly.
I don't know, I guess we never really had a problem hand cranking it, I don't know, they just decided to buy, which, you know, good on them for trying to improve things, but, in the end, it just ended up.
So the actual mechanical part is gonna stay the same, it's just you're replacing the winch system. to
As far as I'm
retract it-
aware.
To retract it, okay.
and then there's gonna be a safety strap on it.
Right,
So if the cable were ever to break, the safety strap would catch it.
and this is something,
And just to clarify with Larry, I was in Bismarck at, I think it's a Legion building or something, they have basketball hoops like what we do, and they're pretty much about the same size, the support pipes and stuff, so I noticed that when I see, because theirs were put in afterwards,
Yeah.
and they're pretty comparable
Oh, okay.
to the design and the size of what we have.
I know how heavy they are, 'cause I helped put them up,
Yeah.
so, yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
They're monsters, so.
I was the one that hung them on the ceiling. Believe me, I know.
so this is also Legion funded, so this is just an update.
100%.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right.
This will cause the Memorial Hall to be closed for 3 days, While they do this, they're looking at starting January 21st, which it does have a conflict with homeschool. So we have to take care of that, but just so the public does know that the hall probably will be closed for open walk 21st, 22nd, 23rd, because they need 3 days to do this, which was why it was important for us in the city to know that this was happening.
And then,
Yeah, for both of them.
the school was also involved in this process for that wind system, so. All right, any more discussion on 15? Not, move on. Forestry board opening?
Okay, Carla, I talked to Carla Klein again today. She is, she hasn't given us a date yet of resignation, but she is going to turn in her resignation probably within the next month or so. She is just trying to train some, she does all of like the tree ordering, for the tree giveaway at the school. She's done that for many years. So she's kind of bringing some of the other members up to speed on how to do that. But, she would like to resign from this position, so we would need to open up this position. And I didn't look to see how many years she has left. But anyway, it would be to fill the rest of her term.
I think she was just reappointed, so.
Okay, so it'd probably be pretty close to a full term.
Yep.
So we would need to advertise for a forestry board position. And if we find someone, she said she'll help them get up to speed with, because she does a lot of the grant writing. So we're gonna lose a lot in hers, but she's willing to stick around and train someone to do what she's done for us, so. And I'd just like to publicly thank her for her years of service. She's done a great job, so. So we need a motion to open that. Or we just, I don't think we have in the past. Yeah, so anyway, we'll open up that position, so.
Okay,
Okay, thanks.
put out a public announcement, all right.
Advertise for it.
advertisement, thank you. All right, 17, living local app.
The Living Local app that we have been using, which I guess is the Washburn app, was funded for the last however many years we've had it, 3-4 years, through a grant. It is by Cat & Company that is now running out, so if we want to keep the app, it would be $750 billed annually. And they were able to extend it, so we would not have to make our first payment until June. But I think it officially expires the end of March. Is it something that we want to keep or not? July 1st. The nice thing with this, it allows for the push notifications. I can see it on the back end how many people actually open those, and it's very minimal. We pay for our website, which has the same capability now where we can send out a text message or send out an email, which was one of the biggest things that we were looking for with that capability, just for quick notifications out to the residents of anything, or, you know, where we've had to use it, asking people to move their vehicles in huge snowstorms, stuff like that. And we're roughly pay the same amount for a website, so we already have that, and we're going to keep our website anyway. I don't know that paying for another one. The app has been nice. I don't see on the back end though that it's utilized to the extent of what it could be, where it makes almost having that other payment to keep it. And I can get some more data off the back end on that for you guys if you would like that versus making a decision.
So it doesn't need to be decided on tonight?
No, probably going forward. I mean, I don't even know if any of you have it, if you utilize it, if you look at it, if we've tried to push it, I just don't think that it's.
I'll just make it easy, I guess, or try to make it easy. Yeah, I do have the app. I've used it. It's really, really good idea, that sort of thing. But with the new website upgrade, having the same capabilities, it's kind of got built-in redundancy that then builds this confusion of like, okay, which one do we focus manpower on to maintain, right?
Exactly.
Like, what's our statistics over here? What's our statistics over here? You know, like a little bit too split, kind of inefficient to be trying to do that. So nothing against the app. It's a very nice app. But overall, like, I know Washburn Life did a very good job, like trying to get it out there and that sort of stuff, but I don't think people were overly interested in the app. You know, I don't know. So it might be best just to cancel this instead of becoming reliant on this, and then instead of $750, the state contract ends, now we're paying $3,000 a year. You know what I mean? So it just seems not a good basket to put eggs into. Nothing against the app itself or anything like that, but just from our little thing we got going here, so. I'd motion to cancel the Living Local app.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Miranda's got it.
discussion? Rhonda, do you have any input on it since your Washburn Life?
You know, I use it a lot. I've noticed, you know, that if you have, you know, there's the jobs, somebody could put jobs on there. But I'm thinking if they do it through the app, it goes down to Grand Forks or Fargo. I don't know if Chelsea or Erica get the notifications on that. I just find it's easier just to come to the city hall and give the information to them, and they can usually put it on the app.
Okay. So you don't see a desperate need to keep it? No? Okay, answers my question. All right, any more discussion?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. All right, thank you. All right, number 18, replacing chemical feed tanks.
Adam.
So I've been notified that we are over life on our chemical storage tanks. And so I asked for replacement costs on those. Couple of changes here from the copies you guys have. We will not be pursuing the drum scale with digital display for $3,289. If needed, we will use one of the scales we are replacing with a larger chlorine tank for that if needed. And in the interest of the further discussion about the fluoride, I'd say we skip over the approving the 150-gallon tank for the fluoride. But I would still like to move forward on the rest of these tanks so we get them started. I don't know what the total would be with those changes.
Are these, what are the tanks made of?
Some sort of
Like a poly?
plastic poly, yeah, I'm not
Okay.
quite sure.
They're not stainless or?
No.
And you feel it's a need, correct?
It is a need, and we are, like I said, we are over time on what is the expected life of these tanks, so.
So the total is
$6,647.47.
$74.
so
$74.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of a new tank.
okay. Second.
Any more discussion? Okay, Tim?
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you. A2S update.
Here.
Here I am again. Alright, I did send out an update report. If you guys wanted a physical copy, I can hand you one of those too. So, first thing I want to start off with again is just a update on the lead and copper rule, technical assistance. So there hasn't been too much change there. The state's been pretty slow on pushing out funding for that Category B assistance. I think I talked about this last month, but the Category B assistance is the same as Category A. It would involve a records review, and the thing that we'd be looking for differently here is for connectors, which I didn't note any connectors that we had last time when we did the records review, but that's part of the update that the LCRI, the lead and copper rule improvements had. So that would be something that we would do there. Because there's still a lot of unknown service lines in town, we would be doing another survey with that. And then the main difference between the assistance from category A and B is there's door to door checking. So that's something that we would do with category B assistance. Now, with the state being really slow and pushing out funding, I don't know when, if or when Washburn will get category B assistance. So when I do find that out, I'll make sure I let you guys know right away. But we did have a webinar last month on the LCRI update. And I would encourage, if you wanted to go check that out, you could. We have another webinar coming up on January 23rd, and this one's gonna be focused on funding for LCRI. So, we encourage you guys to check that out too. I can send out the invite for that, as well.
Can
So,
forward it too. I have it.
you do have it? Okay,
I
great.
can forward it.
That would be great if you could do that. Thanks, Chelsea.
Is that held at your building? Or-
So it's a virtual webinar.
Oh,
So
okay.
we don't, we're gonna have 3 subject matter experts, but they're gonna be, one of them's out in Montana, one of them's in Utah, and, the third one's gonna be in Fargo, I think.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, they're kinda scattered around.
Did you say you didn't know what time it was? Or-
It's noon.
Noon, yeah. But again, you can, if you sign up for it, we'll send out a notification for you can go watch the recording as well, if you wanna do that. So, you don't have to do it at that exact time, you can get it, watch it later, so. Does anybody have any questions on LCRI? I know it's kind of an ambiguous thing, but the one thing I've been telling, everyone I talk to about it is we wanna make sure we can reduce the amount of unknown service lines we have. That's a big thing. Over the next 3 years, we need to do that. Because the LCRI becomes effective 3 years from now. And then right now, the government has a 10-year replacement window, starting 3 years from now. So 13 years from now, everyone's supposed to have all of their lead service lines replaced, so.
Will there be a survey to fill out with like the picture scanning it again, like this last one?
I would imagine we're gonna do something similar to that, yeah.
Was there a possibility that that one could be left open longer?
I'm sure we could, yeah.
Okay. Just with some of the questions now when we're contacting people, if they didn't understand what it was, because sometimes
Right.
people just throw away city mail.
Right.
So now we can be like, well, if you have this, or we can resend it,
Yeah.
you could do it, walk them through it to get the picture to try and maybe eliminate some of the legwork for the
Yeah.
city workers of having to go up there and do that.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that the public now is becoming more educated on lead and copper rule. So hopefully things don't just get thrown away. And the notifications that we sent out to everyone who had an unknown or a lead service line, that has to be done every year. So they're gonna keep seeing this stuff. It's not gonna go away. So, but yeah, that's something if and when we get funding, we'll keep that survey open a little bit longer and maybe have a bigger push on the communication out to the public on that, like, hey, please do this survey. Which we had over 20% response rate on the survey last time, which is actually pretty decent. But of course, you'd wanna get as much as you can on those, so it reduces the amount of work that has to be done later on, so. Other questions on that? Okay. Next thing I got on there is the seal coat project, so, per the direction I got from the commission last month, I added on the 2023 project to that, seal coat project. So I did submit, quantities and an updated cost estimate to that. So is there any questions on that anybody has? Okay.
So just to update, it sounds like we've been chip sealed up to the last project in 2016. Prior to that, everything had gotten done.
Everything up to the 2016 project was seal coated from what I am tracking.
That's what.
Yep, so the 2016 project, 2023 project, and then I think there was some additional work on Main Avenue that you guys wanted to have seal coated too. So that's what we're looking at for the project area. So it's a pretty big seal coating project, but I think there's definite savings for the city by doing both of those this year versus like waiting another year to do another one, cause then you're having a contractor move in again, and plus you have another year of inflation, increased costs, or I mean, largely it's gonna depend on the price of oil when they bid this, but
It's somewhat low now, so.
right, so that's good, so, so that, you know, kind of going into the next point there, so I have task order 17, to start work on this, and we would look at knocking out the design in this in the next few months, and then, bidding this around that April-May timeframe, and then the actual seal coating work would happen in July-August timeframe, so.
Is there any, funding out there or anything to apply for?
We certainly could, look at, well, like Bank of North Dakota, are you talking like grant money, you talking like?
Grant money,
loans?
anything to look for, to,
For a seal coat job, there's not anything I can really think of off the top of my head. If it's utility work, we'd have, you know, like water or sewer, we'd have better shot at something for that. But for something like this, not that I know of right now.
What about the cost of the pea gravel
What do you mean, like
to,
the,
to seal coat? Are you,
am I thinking that's gonna be going
I don't know,
up or down?
where's the price at right now?
So I don't think I broke down the price, for the actual rock that's gonna be used on that. I think I just did a square yardage price. So right now, $3.15, per square yard, and that's gonna include your oil and your
Oh, okay.
rock, your pea gravel,
Yeah.
essentially, that's gonna go into that. But if you wanted me to break out a price on that, I could probably.
No,
do that
I was
too.
just wondering where, you know, if oil's down, but, you know,
Yeah, I don't know that.
I don't know what the cost is.
Yeah, I don't know if rock is up or down right now. We do know that oil's down, and that would help, for sure. And who knows what oil's gonna do, you know, over
Right.
the next few months as well. So.
Okay,
Any other questions on the seal coat projects?
No.
If not, I'd ask for a motion for approval of task order 17.
I have a question. What is your cost for the seal coat project?
So for the seal coat project, we're looking at 58,000 square yards of seal coating. Like I said, that's two big street projects that we've done over the last 8 years or so. And for construction costs, 257,000 for seal coating that. So that's a 2016 project and 2023 project, plus the Main Street.
So what was the total of it?
257,000 for construction costs. That includes the contingencies.
That doesn't sound terrible.
Yeah, 315 a square yard. That's pretty decent. We've seen bids even last year that are actually under $3 a square yard. So I typically do my construction estimates a little bit conservative. That way, when we go to get bids, you know, if it's better than what the city was budgeting for, or what they were thinking, then we're in a better ship rather than planning for something and then it being higher than what you actually were gonna be able to pay. So,
Yep.
But yeah, that I would say I'm within, you know, within 10-15% of what we were seeing last year for prices on seal coats.
So remind me again, Eric, the approval of the task order is to go ahead with the project or just? to
Yeah,
get bidding?
approval of the task order I'm asking for design, bidding, and construction services. So the design and bidding would be a lump sum, and then the construction services would be hourly, if we're gonna do that.
And
So-
then do you come back to approve the bids, or is this all in the whole?
Yep, no, I will be involved in the whole process.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. So
So
we'll do the bidding process,
Yeah.
do the advertisement for you guys, and we would have a
So there-
bid opening and all that.
Right,
Yep.
so there's another meeting for approval that is on,
For approving work, yes,
yeah.
cause we have to find put the plans together.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna review those plans,
Yeah.
and say, yep, we're good to go here. And then you'd tell me to go advertise, and then I would go advertise the project, and then hopefully we get 2-3 bids at least. And then you guys would have to approve the bids and award the contract.
Right.
To
Yeah.
anything happen.
not that it doesn't need to be done, but we're kinda upside down on assessments, we wanna look at all that stuff too. you know,
Oh,
so-
for sure, yep.
Yep.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm not saying that, that's how much I estimate the construction's gonna be. I'm not saying that you guys gotta commit to doing that.
Yeah.
See what we get for bids and then, you can go from there. Yep.
And then before we vote, do we wanna talk about where we're gonna get the funding? Are we gonna do specials, or are we gonna try to pull from 1% sales tax? I mean, do we wanna have that discussion?
I think this gets specialed. So,
and we can do Bank of North Dakota, if you guys are looking for funds to pay for the construction costs, Bank of North Dakota would be the, what I would say, what I would recommend.
I mean, do you wanna
But
look at a ratio of, is there any amount in 1% sales tax do we use to pay X amount down, rest gets specialed out? You know, should we look at some of those options before we proceed? Or,
Well, I gotta,
think-
what about the east and west main where you don't have any housing? So would that fall under the city?
Citywide.
And then,
It's all
we just
city,
go-
it's all citywide assessment.
right,
yeah, and I guess to answer your question, Jamie, I don't think it would hurt to approve the task order so we could begin working on it. And then, you know,
Right.
you can do, we would start, if you're gonna special assess it, which that's a good point that you brought that up, then we would wanna get to work on getting the special assessment stuff set up. Sorry, Chelsea.
That's okay.
Yeah, and that, I mean, Keith is finance, so Keith can be looking into that also.
Yep.
And I think, Mark, you had some ideas too on specials too you were gonna look at, so,
Yep.
when we visited.
Yep.
As far as doing without, so.
But the option of taking them out like we did with the last street project, to buy down that,
Right.
we could use some out of sales and use tax for that.
right. and
Not all of it, but, I mean, we could put an amount towards it, for
Do-
sure.
Do we wanna have any discussion, finance-wise, how much we wanna do before we do this? Cause once we commit to you, it's kind of a go, I mean.
What I will do, if you guys approve the task order, is I'll start working on the plans and specs and getting all the bidding documents together. That's what I would start working on. So, I mean, that wouldn't be wasted work. If you wanted to wait till next year, till the following year to do the project, you could still take those plans and specs and bidding documents and go bid it then, if you wanted to. Or you can just hold off, right now too. It's completely up to you.
So we'd be committing to the
You'd be
Project.
committing to the engineering work.
but
Yeah,
not
if you did the
necessarily
task order.
how to pay for it at this time.
Correct, yeah,
But I think you would be out, what was yours, I don't have that in front of me, was it like 40,000?
40K, yeah.
Yep, and if we didn't do it, are we kinda out that 40K, or can we?
No, I'm gonna
scud-
deliver to you everything you need for the project.
Or can we
Yep.
scuttle that till next year, if we do it next year? Say we get the bids, you know, out and it goes above maybe what you had planned.
Yeah,
deny those
I'm not
bids.
gonna, I wouldn't charge any more than what I would do this year than for next year, I guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So,
And for this last seal coat project that was done, I don't know off the top of my head what the total price was, but the average yearly payment for that is $9.15.
For doing
The last seal coat project we did, like I said, I don't know the total amount on that,
$9.15 per
resident.
resident.
Yeah, that's what's special
Okay.
to, that would
Okay.
increase your taxes, I guess, on there, it's
Okay.
$9.15.
Okay.
So I
And
could,
that last seal coat project was done back in like 2017 maybe?
16 maybe?
yeah, I don't remember.
Something like that, yeah.
But that was the 2013 and 2014 projects got seal coated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, so,
It's a minimal assessment compared to the other stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty small, yeah, but again, it's up to you guys.
it's still an additional cost to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I could look at, I don't know, was it done? Cause it goes, I'm assuming it's to everybody in the area, at the same price? Is that how it was done last time? Do you know, Larry?
I don't remember.
Okay, and I can look into that too.
Yeah, so what I remember street assessments being, and I know that there's been a lot of discussion on the special assessment committee on how they're doing this last one. But what I remember it being is anyone in the project area paid for half the project, and everyone else in town that was not in the project area paid for the other half.
With the CL coat as well?
I can't say that for sure,
Okay,
but
that's
that's
what
yeah. That's what I remember the street projects being. So, you know, that's a good point, you know, if you wanna stay consistent with how it was back in that time, 10 years ago, or if the, this commission or the special assessment committee that would be formed for this wants to change it to something different, that'd be up to them.
to be fair with what you had stated earlier in the meeting about putting it on the agenda, do we,
On the,
for voting on this, so, you know,
well, we're not in portfolios.
no, but technically it's not listed on here about,
No, but I mean, this doesn't fall in, that's our portfolios.
Right.
Yeah, we make decisions concerning what he brings up here, so, yeah.
I see where Jamie's coming from though. Logically speaking, you
if
want
people
the
want to
items.
come in and talk.
If
sorry.
it, so if we were to use the same logic for what we previously had with why we should not present stuff during specials, that should also apply to engineering report. So I get where you're coming from,
Yeah, so
Jamie.
the citizens have time to come down and say something if they need to say
Yeah,
something.
you can put it off till next month if you want.
Yeah, is there any, like, what's the timeline? Like, if we don't do next month, like,
No, that's
no bread
fine.
in the basket
No,
sort of
that's
thing?
fine. No, I have the team ready to work on this, so, their time is, you know, between now and May, we wanna have this done so that we can, I wanna bid it April, May.
Okay.
That's really the timeline that I wanna hit,
Mhm.
so that we can be out ahead of everyone else who's wanting to get seal coat projects. I wanna get those contractors before other people do. You wanna be early on their list to get better prices. If you're later on their list when they have less time, then they're gonna elevate their prices to do the work.
Okay, so February, whenever our meeting is, to April, when you need it done, that's not gonna put you in a crunch to get it.
No, I don't think so. I think we can do it. We've already been looking at some of the stuff that we need to do for this, so, yeah, I mean, but I wouldn't wanna, not to put you guys under the gun, but I wouldn't wanna push it any further than February, I guess,
Right.
so.
Could we call a special meeting?
Yeah, you can do that. That's a good point, Jamie. We could just request that anything that you have coming up that you would want decisions from us, just put it on as a.
Put it on a separate item.
Yeah,
I can do
so,
that, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's definitely put on February and get this dealt with, but, I mean, to be fair, yeah,
Yeah.
so.
that way you can get some input public wise
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Good point.
Yeah.
Good job.
Okay. All right, so we'll wait on that until your next meeting. There's no other questions. The next thing is the PRV project. So I did produce another estimate for that. It hadn't changed that much from the one I did a couple months prior to that. What Adam and I finalized more is that on the decision of whether or not we want to replace the vault, and I think we're going to remove and replace the vault up by the old tower, and then we're keeping the vault on 4th Avenue. That's in pretty good shape. One thing that I'm still working on with you guys is kind of drilling down on a price for a local contractor to do this work, because I believe we can do it underneath that bidding requirement that's required per Century Code. So we can try to get this work done for a better price. So talking with some local contractors to do this work if we can. So more to follow on that. Got to meet with them and Adam to talk more, and then we can get you guys a better price than what I'm estimating right now. So, any questions on that? Okay. The other thing is, what I'd like to do is still need to meet with Jamie and Adam on the street and drainage permits, and I'll reach out to you guys to set up a time that works. And then maybe we can do a conference call or something, or if you wanted to meet out there and look at something, we can do that too.
Sure.
And maybe after this meeting, we can talk some more too as well.
Yeah.
But I wanna go over the project area with you, and then some of the cost estimates that we've looked at over the years for that, so that you're up to speed on everything.
Sure.
So, that's kinda where we're at with that one.
Okay.
And that's all I have, unless you guys have questions for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 22, portfolios, new business.
Nope, nothing. Yep.
Yeah, nothing, I think we kinda talked about
Okay.
this year, so.
I'll go next. Yeah, the painting of the stage area at the memorial building, I guess we're looking at, the Legion is looking at March. That's when the schedule slows down for the, walkers, and then for, basketball usage. It's almost being used every day, so anyways, that's about all I have.
For the library, I did talk to, a local contractor about replacing the front door to get it more, ADA acceptable. So I do have those numbers, I more was just asking you guys if this is a reasonable amount of money. I don't think, what's the amount that we have to vote on it?
Ooh, what is
Full
that?
commissioner
Versus-
approval is 4,000.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily I need approval, but I just wanted your guys' inputs on if I should get other bids, or if this seems,
If it's okay, I'll give a little bit more context. It's like year and a half project probably. When I had the library portfolio, we were talking about it quite a bunch, just trying to figure stuff out. I know Adam was kind of thinking about, well, maybe we could do this and try and figure some stuff out like that. And even as the board, we were like, can we just build little ramps or something to make it ADA compliant? But that's just a whole thing. So it's been a in project for quite a while.
I guess I don't know what to tell you as far as, I don't know how much work they're doing, you know, so.
Right.
It's not my forte, so.
well, Adam, you kind of discussed like not feeling comfortable doing it as the city with the concrete and everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns around it, and we're not exactly carpenters, so.
Right.
And that was kind of the thing, he's taking a risk on kind of an older thing of like lots of unknowns,
Yeah.
you know, like what's in the concrete, how far does it go down, is there anything below there, you know, like
Yeah.
all that fun stuff, so. He is assuming all those risks at a somewhat reasonable price, it seems, I don't know, but.
On the labor part of it, do they have a breakdown of how much per hour, or,
No, that's all.
I mean, they just have $1,000, but that's kind of vague.
It's probably just for the job. It probably doesn't break out per hour would be my guess is how he's doing it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what's the difference in, well, it's only about $100 in material difference.
Depends on the color you want.
Oh, the color makes a difference?
That's the only thing I see different.
Yeah. I guess, is this a bid or an estimate, or?
Well, he said, here's the bid, is when they emailed it to me. And then I just wanted to run it past all of you before moving forward with it.
Well, would we, if we're going by,
Well, is this something that we approve, or is this the library board does this?
No, well, and because it's under 4,000, it was more just getting your guys' input.
Right,
on
you guys
it.
can go ahead and move forward with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, or if you just saw this and was like, no way.
I
That's
can
just
see,
supposed to
I can see why,
communicate.
Yeah.
if we had questions?
Yeah.
I can see why
Or
he says
input.
1,000, cause he doesn't know what he's gonna run into, how's he gonna give a bid per hour, you know,
Right.
so.
Right.
Yeah, I don't,
And the library has just, Candy's done such a good job, like increasing the numbers and
Mhm.
people coming in and out and
Sure.
just needs to be done.
Okay. Thank you for the information.
Okay, so for finance, I will look into the specials or 1 cent sales for the street project that we talked about, kind of get with Chelsea, talk about that sort of stuff and bring something, whether it's special meeting or the next commission meeting for that. One thing, so this is not like a seek approval for amount or whatever. I was at the park board's last meeting and they're doing a fundraiser for their, like a seal coating, whatever it is for their pool. And apparently it's gonna be like a pretty significant amount of money. I guess, is that something that maybe I should look into, seeing how much would be needed, or, you know, I know the amount that's needed, but like, talk to them more, pursue that more to bring something to us, or what do you guys kind of thoughts on that? It's gonna be helpful.
They are having a special meeting next week, Wednesday, to, I believe, Jack just asked if the room was open. I don't know if he sent it out yet, so I probably shouldn't speak on behalf of them. They are looking to have a special meeting to explore their options for funding or fundraising, what they can do if they want to pursue putting the liner in at the pool. So I can let you know too when there is. I do believe he did come and get a form for sales and use tax to request some money. I think that he was gonna probably bring to the February meeting.
Okay, and that's why I kind of brought it up last minute, because I was somewhat surprised that they didn't have something tonight or whatever, but if they're coming February or doing more special meetings,
Yeah,
just so it's
cause they just had their
known.
meeting last week, I think, to see what it was. I know they plan on having a special meeting, and then I think they plan on coming to our meeting in February
Okay.
to look at some possible options of sales and use tax.
Yeah, if you don't mind, just let me know about the special meeting and
Yeah.
just
Yep.
keep me informed about it or whatever, so. That's all I have.
Chelsea or Adam?
I have nothing to add to,
Okay.
to my thing, so.
So we do have an open janitorial position. This will include the cleaning of the city hall, the memorial building, the library, and the water treatment plant. You can submit your applications to me. If you have questions on them, let me know. The memorial building is highly used, so we do require, sufficient hours over there to making sure that is cleaned and up to par for all the events that are going on there. We are having a special assessment committee meeting tomorrow at 5:30. City Hall and then open walk will be closed on the 20th, which then can probably lead just into Thursday. As far as I know, if they got the okay for them to come and do that winch system, they will be here the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. So there will probably be no open walk those days as well. The guys are gonna have a trailer full of chairs over by the dumpster at the memorial building tomorrow. If anybody wants them, go and grab them, take them, get them out of her hair. They're yours for free will. Just go and help her. They'll be over kind of by the back by the dumpster at the memorial building, so you can just go and take those if you want any chairs. With the recent snow that we had, just a reminder to anybody with snow removal, it is against ordinance to be pushing your snow across the street into the boulevard. You cannot do that. And then there shouldn't be cars parked in the boulevard either. So that's all I have.
I just wanna say excellent job, you guys, for snow removal.
I let them know.
Yep. Anybody have anything else? Meeting adjourned.
I move, we pop some popcorn and turn the game on.
Yes.
I'm in.
What's the score?
10-3.
We're